Hello everyone. So as you all are aware that we have come to the end of this playlist or this series of how to write for premier journals. We have covered so far what are premier journals, why manuscripts are usually fail, and what are the expectations. And in terms of expectations, we are covering the anatomy of the article one by one. We have covered all the sections so far, and today we are going to cover in this video how to write an accurate and complete references in a research article, because references plays a very critical role, everyone. So, just to highlight a few things about references, why it's very important, because it brings in legitimacy in our article and in our argument. If I say some statement to you, you probably, as a researcher, will ask me, what are the citations, right? Who is saying that? Which research article has highlighted that? So, in the research field, we always build on ideas, and to build on ideas, we need the previous citations. So, it actually brings in legitimacy to our arguments and the statements which we are putting in our article. It also gives us or our research article a theoretical base, or it also push forward the debates and the arguments and the contributions which we want to or which we intend to do, so that it also actually further avoids the conceptual redundancy which can come up. So proper citations, proper referencing always put forward the arguments, the debates in a best way. If we talk about the references, it also validates the instruments which we are using, the techniques, the methodology which we are using, the analytical procedures which we are using. Let's say, for example, if I do bibliometric analysis, I cannot just come up and just adopt that. I have to cite the proper good previous citations that I want to adopt this methodology explained by so and so research papers or researchers, and this is the procedure which I'm going to adopt. Even if it is adopted in some other research article, we have to cite and give the references, right? So it actually validates the uses of anything. It can be an instrument, technique, or methodology. So it validates our research article. It also enables the verification, and it also uh, reinforce the scientific transparency in our article. It also strengthens the theoretical framing as we have just discussed. So it's very critical to include the references. Last but not at all the least part is, if we do not cite work or the previous work, it comes under plagiarism, or it may come under intellectual misappropriation, ensuring and like doubting or raising the questions on the academic integrity, which is a red flag. Being a researcher, we should always be very cautious about it. So it's very critical to do the referencing properly. And when we cite properly, and when we submit to premier journals, the editors and the reviewers, it always create a very good impact. It always create, the authenticity, the legitimacy. It always put forward the arguments, the contributions, the conduct with proper citations. So it always gives our article an edge. So that's how these are a few things which are very critical. And the last point which we are going to cover in the next video is relevancy of the appendices. So in this today in this video, let's cover first the accuracy and complete referencing. So what are references? The references of an article are often referred to as by readers, especially editors and reviewers, as we have just discussed. It is crucial that the authors do not neglect the strategic inclusion. So, there is a lot of strategy involved. First, dubious sources. Always remember that, let's say you are writing for an A star journal, okay, and you are citing any research article that is not listed in ABDC. Do you feel this A star journal is going to accept that article? Maybe not. Or if it is an FT50 journal and we are writing for the FT50 journals, and if we are citing any of the article that is not Scopus listed or ABDC category listed, do we feel that that journal is going to accept our article or even consider it for the review? Maybe not. So if we are targeting A star journal, let's target the references to be top notch, probably A category, B category, or itself A star category. So they should be a top category sources. Even you can cite the C category, but they should be at least following some indexing. So the first strategy is avoid citing dubious resources and ensure that the recent references are included from the target journal as well as the other premier journal. So this is also one of the technique which is there, that we should not forget the recent references. For example, in whatever field you are, whether it's finance, marketing, or in the business, in any of the business domain, we all know that technology is impacting. And even if not business, even in other sectors, the technology are impacting or having a major impact. So we all know that if we are writing some paper, let's say in the field of technology with in our space, or whatever research article you are writing, in whatever field you are in, so we have to cite in the recent references so that we can actually bring in the context. So if I say recent, probably the last 5 years, okay, and from the target journal, because we have to cite a few citations from the target journal, that so that we can actually put forward that yes, in the conceptual and in this particular context, we have also read this particular journal and this is what is being covered so far. So it gives an impact in the editors and the reviewers mind that you have thoroughly read their journal as well. So you can just do that, as well as the other premier journals. So I'll not highlight what are premier journals. We have already done an entire video on how to find out premier journals and what are premier journals. So let's do not and avoid and strict no let's have for this. Do not cite the dubious sources. Always remember and cite any category you can bring in. We are since the starting following Simago journal ranking or ABDC ranking, but they should be the top research index journals. Then comes the formatting. So referencing style based on the author guidelines and recent research papers of the target journal. So let's say if we are submitting to Journal of Business Research, that is an A category journal, or technology forecasting and social change, or international business review, these all are premier journals in the field. Now, to know about the style, first we have to always read the author guidelines. Majorly in business field, we adopt APA, that is American Psychological Association referencing style. But sometimes we also use Harvard. So let's check first what are the author guidelines saying when you're submitting to that particular journal. And we may also check some recent research papers, like we have just done in our previous video, checking on a few journals and checking on some recent papers, how they are doing it. So it always gives us an idea how the recent published articles have done it. Okay, so this is how we can do. Wherein formal signals quality and recency of the literature of the article is grounded, whereas the later signals the meticulousness of the authors and their attention to the detail. Okay, so first point is let's avoid citing the dubious resources. Second point is, let's focus on some of the recent referencing, including the specific journal to which we are planning to send our article. The third point is, read the author guidelines very, very carefully. It's very, very important. So these are a few points how we can actually bring in the or write the correct or do the referencing in a correct way. Though the journal publishers have begun to accept free format submissions, so in few of the journals have accepted the free format submissions, but still, let's stick to the author guidelines. Whatever is indicated in the author guidelines, let's stick to that. Because we don't want that our article come back to us or send back to us just for a small reason, right? So let's always refer to the author guidelines. So therefore, the authors are always advised to follow the target journal very, very closely. How to follow? Read the author guidelines, read some recent research paper, because there are no shortcuts. And even if we'll take the shortcuts, remember that the paper will come back to us and it will again take 10 to 20 days to again get back, right? We don't want to disturb the process, right? The article, the moment we submit the article, it goes into the process, right? We don't want that the paper come out of that process and then again take more 10, 20, 30 days. We all know that already it's a very, very long process. Sometimes it takes even an year or a year and a half to actually for an article to publish in a premier journals. So let's do that. Let's do all the things wherein our article shouldn't be test rejected or come back to us for the baseless reasons. So let's work on this. What approach we can adopt? So there are so many articles and references which are being given, which you can read. Especially the references should be numbered. We should follow the alphabetical order. So I really want to vouch for the reference management tools over here, because I have read a lot many uh, sources for preparing this video, and in most of the places they are stating all these things like how to write for that. But nowadays the reference management tools are doing this for us. We just have to include, like, whether it's a conference paper or a journal paper or a book or chapter in book or internet document, how we can cite that, right? So the reference management tools like Zotero and Mendeley, they are the top tools which I personally will recommend, because they are connected to the Scopus database at most of the places. So you can easily connect it to your Scopus database once you are there, or if you are already existing. So it will assist us in the connection. So, and the uses is also very, very easy. So you need not to worry about ordering them in alphabetical order or placing them or writing in this way. You just have to put in the detail and all the things will be done by the Zotero or Mendeley software. So I personally recommend all of you to start using the reference management tools. I personally use Mendeley very, very like, it's been almost years since I'm using Mendeley, and they frequently every week they update their styles, their ways. But it's very easy to import the files in Mendeley and use it. Even the Zotero, I have also interacted with the researchers using Zotero, so their experience is also good. So you can just choose any and start using the reference management softwares for your research articles. So that's in brief about how important it is to do the referencing. I was thinking of showing you with some journals what styles they are adopting. So let's quickly have a look. Let's see if some journals we can see quickly. Let's see Journal of Business Research. So what are the filtering criteria which we were thinking of? First is guide for authors. So what are the referencing styles? So let's directly go to the references. So can we see in the references what they are indicating? Referencing format, referencing style. Here is the referencing style. So citations in the text should follow the referencing style used by APA, that is American Psychological Association. We were just discussing about it. So it's very easy to do it. So let's say if you are citing in a research art in your research paper in APA, and if you submit the article or the journal has says that we accept Harvard. So with reference management softwares, it's very easy to convert it immediately in microseconds to Harvard. So it will not be a very big issue when we are using the reference management softwares. So for Journal of Business Research, this is how we can check. If we want to further uh, check the second criteria, see the latest issues, so we can see and go back and check any of the research article and see how referencing is being done.